like the off season, man. So we are now counting down the days till free agency, counting down the days to the NFL draft and the season starting. Before we get into it, Harley, man, this episode brought to you Bet Online. It's playoff time, and the road to Vegas goes through San Francisco and Baltimore. Well, not no more. It goes through Las Vegas. BetOnline is your number one source for playoff football odds, stats, trends, and lines with everything from point spreads to hundreds of player performance props. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. Real quick, Harley, how is the offseason going for you?
It's going. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a wait. It's a fun wait though.
It's
It's
gonna
an
feel forever.
intriguing wait. What's that?
It's gonna feel like forever.
Yeah. It's going to feel like forever. It sure is. But this is fun. The wait is fun. It's fun to dig into an off season where you have a great chance of making a splash
Mm-hmm.
and building this roster and seeing where it goes with number 7 at the helm.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Do you expect the Houston Texans to make a splash in free agency or the draft? I myself think you kind of have to, right? This is the first time in what seems like in Nick Caserio's tenure as general
Yeah.
manager, he finally has enough money to spend. You can go after the high profile players. I feel like fans, though, are expecting the big move to happen.
Yeah, I do question, you know, what what does Nick Casario, what is his philosophy entering an off season where it feels like you got to spend some money. Obviously you have a boatload right now, almost around 60 to 70 million projected. So we haven't seen Nick Casario done it yet. And
Hmm.
obviously we haven't had the cap space like this amount. We haven't had the roster almost ready like this roster. So it's very interesting to see what is Nick Casario's philosophy in spending with free agents, because all we've seen are the 1 year deals, the bargain deals. Some of them hit, some of them don't, most of them don't. And they're gone by next year or halfway through the year. So we'll see what's going on, but hopefully we get to see little shake and bake, man. Hopefully, get
Mm.
to see a little something something from Nick Casario in this free agency period.
I mean, something to get excited about, right? Something to make the fans even more hyped during the offseason. You bring in a big name, man. It is going to feel like a party down here in Houston
Yeah,
because you are doing something that you did not do with the other quarterback. You did not take advantage in his rookie deal. Now with CJ, you were blessed to find out this is your franchise guy in year 1. Use the next 4 years, make this a championship roster, and let's contend for titles, not just one. Let's contend for multiple. Free agency, man, it's about a month and a half away. But before we talk about free agency and our wants, and then we'll get to the draft a little bit later, Hardy, do you think the Texans are going to trade for anyone? Right, a lot of people bring up T. Higgins. You'll have to trade for him. Josh Allen. You'll have to trade for him. Brian Burns, Christian Wilkins, guys you will have to trade for. I did a video about Devontae Adams talking about C.J. Stroud and some potential interest there. Unfortunately, do not think they make a trade, man. I think they try to go at it during free agency and the draft.
yeah. There isn't any of those names where you got to attach the draft value with them. It's just, to me, the Houston Texans, I feel like they want to steer away from trading draft picks for a while, trading any of their future draft picks for a player. Just we haven't had a lot of good fortune with that in the past. And so, I'm comfortable with picks finally. I'm comfortable having almost a 1 through 7,
Hmm.
So I'm comfortable with it. I don't expect any trades like that from the Houston Texans. Has to be like, it really has to be somebody maybe a veteran that gets disgruntled or something like that, and you can offer a cheap deal to bring in a pretty good veteran to come in here and make some noise in the locker room. Who knows? I don't have no examples of who that could be.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I could see. But I wouldn't expect any sort of big name trade happening from Nick Casario and company.
Yeah, not during free agency. During the draft, however, it's everything
Yes.
goes for Nick Casario. He
Yes.
traded up for pretty much our entire draft class last year instead of CJ Stroud. Uh as you said, I'm excited for the draft. No, I am excited too. With the draft, man, this is the first time in 2 years you're not picking in the top five. You don't have
Yep.
a back-to-back first round pick. It's only one, and it is at pick 23. So there's still a lot of talent on the board. Um, have you thought about what you wanted to do with the 23rd yet? Are you open to trade offers if they ring you in and move back into the second round, get multiple?
Yeah, it depends on what the board says, and that's
Mm,
the cliche answer, I know. But you got to look at your draft board. You got to look at the remaining players on said draft board at that moment, and you got to decipher whether or not who's offering you the best trade possible. I would not. It would not shock me whatsoever if Nick Casario traded down. It wouldn't shock me if he traded up. I'll
mm,
be honest with you. Either way, because we've seen Nick do this multiple times during the draft. If there's somebody he likes, he'll go get them. And whether or not it's translated onto the field, i.e., John Mechie so far, oh well, it is what it is. So far, it didn't look like Nico Collins was going to do anything, and you traded up for him.
mm.
And then CJ Stroud came here and changed everything for Nico Collins, as well as himself putting in a lot of work as well. So it could go either way for Nick Casario. Um, if you're trading up, I don't know for who.
Mm.
It really depends on what if Brock Bowers is slipping? Do they look at a Brock Bowers? Obviously, what his potential looks like. He could be one of the best tight ends coming out in this draft. So if he's still hanging around that 17, 18 spot, who's to say the Houston Texans, if they solve a lot of the issues in free agency, maybe they take the little bit of a risk,
Mm.
trade up for a Brock Bowers, maybe a Jason Newton is still there, and he is absolutely every bit of just amazing for you inside the interior. So who knows?
Dude,
Trading up or
his
trading down, you're not out.
accolades are crazy.
Oh yes, oh yeah. He is a legit. Anybody that doesn't know Jerzon Newton, I'm telling you, chat. Jerzon Newton is a guy you have to look up. He is just an absolute monster. Get him here to Houston with D'Amico Ryans and let him feast. With Will Anderson next to him, let him feast.
What is going on? Grafa says, what it do, Ruben? What it do? Harley, before we get into the draft, man, we have to decide what to do with this 60 to 70 million dollars. Jalen Johnson says, I love Newton. No, man, so what was crazy is Harley told me about Jason Newton, and then Mel Kiper drops his mock draft literally an hour later. Guess who's at number 23? Jerzon Newton. So fantastic. Texas Tag, thank you for the 199. Throwing up the H, man. We'll throw it up back to you. Hope you're having a real blessed Monday night. Some big decisions before we talk about additions. Harley, are you re-signing Jonathan Grenard?
So
Oh,
that's
come on. Why you have to start with the side, dude?
it's just I'll say this. So immediately I was thinking, man, this guy could command anywhere between 20 to 25 million. But I feel a lot better after reading Texans Cap's article.
Okay.
And if anybody that doesn't know Texans Cap, make sure y'all follow him on Twitter. Absolute, like if y'all have questions about the cap for the Houston Texans or any sort of NFL cap questions, go to at Texans Cap. Go follow him. He is a fantastic follow on Twitter or X or whatever they call it now. He had an article that came out today about Jonathan Grenard, and he had two offers. And the first offer was what the Houston Texans could offer for Jonathan Grenard.
Mm,
And you were looking at around a 3 years, let's just say 47 million in total.
mm-hmm.
So that is not a bad contract offer whatsoever. Excuse me. And then the second offer was, an agent's offer,
Okay.
in where it was near the realm of 18, 19 million a year in terms of AAV, a lot of high, incentives, all that good stuff, probably some roster bonuses because he did mention the injuries in the past. So if he plays X amount of games, he gets this incentive. We saw that. I just saw that recently with somebody from one of the playoff teams. But both of those offers, like, if you're telling me I could get Jonathan Grenard for $18 million,
Mm,
sign me up. I
absolutely.
mean, absolutely. And if it's for 15 million a year,
Mm,
I mean, I'll take that every day and twice on Sunday. I mean, come on. Jonathan Grenard absolutely is worth that money. He is fantastic against the run. He's fantastic against the pass. We know this. We're Texans fans.
yeah.
We've seen Grenard play this season, and it was fantastic. So him, Will Anderson, look, man, we had the conversations. That was an underrated edge rush duo in the NFL, and
Mm-hmm.
they could arguably be, considering themselves as a top 5 edge duo if they stay together and for the years to come. There's so much potential in that duo.
Mm. Blake, thank you for 4.99. Hippo's character head pops out of water, surrounded by his Hippo squad. Cool. Then sends another 2.99. Hands doing the sign of the horns with sparkles around. I don't think any sparkles are gonna come around. However, thank you for the
Okay.
2.99, man. Hope you're having a real good Monday night.
He's feeling himself.
Right? Shout out. Feeling
Shout out to
himself. Well,
Blake.
Jonathan Grenard. So PFF has his contract projected, Harley, at 3 years, $47.25
Mm,
million, 31.75 million guaranteed,
yeah,
and annually he'll be getting around 1575.
bring it on.
They bring up the fact that this was his best season in terms of getting to the quarterback, 12 and a
Yes,
half sacks, and
yes.
has a 9.3% run stop rate, ranking eighth among qualifying edge defenders, man. Everything Harley said, it is true. And him and Will Anderson Jr., I said top 10. I was thinking top 10 pass rush duo, but top 5, I could definitely see it. If you have Jonathan Grenard in your prime, and then you have Will Anderson Jr. more comfortable this year and growing under head coach D'Amico Ryans, you were going to see something absolutely insane. Blake, thank you again, 4.99. ESPN hired this man already. You're going to see actually both of us in a couple of months on TV on the CW 39, guys. Some big
It's gonna be
things
some fun days.
happening. And shout out to our guys. Believe in Texans, man. They are the reason why we are here. I'm kind of confused why some fans want Jonathan Grenard gone. And
Yeah.
this is homegrown talent, man. This is someone who, like I said, 12 and a half sacks and is very good at stopping the run. Who are you going to bring in to replace that? And if you are replacing Jonathan Grenard, I don't want to see them complaining about lack of sacks. I don't want to see them complaining about stopping the run because you had someone in house that was doing that and you chose not to re sign him.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Who is replacing Grenard? That's the immediate question. Okay, you don't want Jonathan Grenard back? Okay, cool. Then who are you replacing him with? Because, yeah, Derek Barnett, cool, but I mean, do we really expect Derek Barnett to, carry the starter load and into this coming year and translate what Jonathan Grenard was doing? That's a big ask. You know, do you separate it by bringing back Barnett and signing somebody else, both of them into two guys that are wrapped into one in Jonathan Grenard. Like, okay, but who? AJ Epinesa, all
Chase
right.
Young, but we
Yeah.
heard he's taking plays off in San Francisco, and
I
I
mean,
think I saw that they were thinking about benching him for the
yes,
Super Bowl.
they called, I mean, they're saying liability. You
Jeez,
know, that is what's coming from a tweet. I don't know how much traction there is to that, but seeing the video of Jahmyr Gibbs scoring a touchdown against the 49ers and Chase Young is at the beginning of the play running, and then you just see him just jog. And Jahmyr Gibbs literally cuts back and just runs right by Chase Young. And because Chase Young wasn't running at full steam, he couldn't get Jahmyr Gibbs. He didn't even try to. He just threw a hand out there like that, pretended like he was doing something. Definitely going to be a red laser pointer on him during the I hate to be yeah, man. I would first of all, I would love to be a positional coach for him and watching film with him because they're going to chew him out. I mean, we traded this for you, and this is what you're giving us. Like you and Nick Bosa were supposed to be the
elite.
best, yeah, the best duo in the NFL. That's how much potential both of them have together. There's nothing wrong with Nick Bosa. There's a lot wrong with Chase Young. I don't know what it is with him, whether it's mentally, maybe he just hasn't gotten over injuries, maybe he's just not comfortable with San Francisco. Who knows?
Mm.
But it is not looking good for him because he's losing money with video like that.
And what D Town said is what I think a lot of fans feel here in Houston. I don't want him gone. I just don't want to overpay him. You might have to overpay Jonathan Grenard if you want one of the best edge rushers in the NFL on your team. Someone who had 12 and a half sacks, someone like I mentioned, top 8 and run defense. Blake, thank you for the 499. Believe in 713. Shout out to Believe. But I really want to see him as a Houston Texan, man. Don't want to see homegrown talent grow because then we're gonna have this conversation next year about Nico Collins. Do you sign him? Do you sign him to a deal
Mm-hmm.
or do you let him go? And
Yeah.
we gotta have to start preparing ourselves. But like we both mentioned, we could potentially have 60 to 70 million. It could go all the way up to 90, depending on the moves we make.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big list. Somebody had a tweet out. Forgot who it was, but it was like basically a bunch of guys to you can resign, you can't resign. So, you know, what do we do with it was like Myjai Sanders, Tegan Cotoriano, a bunch of guys that and it's just like in total it was about $15 million right there. Would you bring all of those guys back? Would you let them go? I believe Jimmy Ward was on that list as well. There was a few other guys, kind of like your backups, third stringers. I mean, at 15 million, I mean that's a lot of money, and 15 million a year, and I don't mind throwing that at someone else.
Mm,
Hell, replacing all of those guys with, let's say, 15 million in Jonathan Grenard, like I'm pretty happy about that.
mm,
And I like my Jai Sanders, I like what he did, but hey, if it's between him and 14, I mean him and maybe I think it was like 7 other guys on the list to Jonathan Grenard. I
mm-hmm.
mean, I'm gonna take Jonathan Grenard every day. Like it is what it is. So the Houston Texans definitely have their work cut out for them, and obviously we know this. Nick Caserio has a big offseason. The Texans have a big offseason, and we'll see what happens, man. It's a lot of fun to talk about.
Shout out to AD Arthur Den. I think that's the first time I've seen your government name AD, man.
That
One
is
of the
true.
hosts of the H Town
That's true.
Rundown, a fantastic podcast that is starting. They also do the Rockets, man. And
Yeah.
shout out to the Rockets. They're getting it going. Sengun is becoming a star. Blake said, I'll throw 15 million at Mr. Ruben Calavio. Thank
Okay,
you for
bro.
the 499.
All right, bro.
I'll
You got a
take
stalker,
15
bro.
million. I'll take it. I'll take it.
You
I'll
got a
give you
stalker, bro.
about I give you about half a sack every 3 games. I'll make it interesting for you. I'll make you, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna just run it over, but
3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 18. So half a sack.
Every
You
three
know,
games,
so you're
baby.
you're getting about 6 sacks there, man.
Hey, for 15.
Hey, yeah, it's a little bit of an overpay in my
Hey,
opinion.
hey, I'm not claiming to be the best, man. You pay me what you think I'm worth. um,
Clowny numbers, man.
hey, hey, I need the incentives, dude. So, and then real quickly, we'll address Dalton Schultz. Um, it's gonna have to be on on something that makes sense in a way where right here they have them 3 year 33, 11 a year, 20, 63 guaranteed. I'm not giving that to Dalton Schultz. I
Yeah,
apologize. The deal that I am offering is what Hunter Henry is projected to make. 2 years, $12.25 million, 8 million guaranteed, and 6.13 million a year. That's what I am offering to Dalton Schultz.
yeah, I could live with that. I don't mind that. I appreciate everything Dalton Schultz has done, but
Saved
hey,
our
man,
season.
don't let the door hit you on the way out. You know, no offense, I love him, but it is what it is. Like it was only 1 year. I'm not attached to him. You know, so don't let any other Texan fan be attached to him. Of course, when you say that, Texas fans get attached to everybody, man.
My boy
Like,
Juan bought his jersey, dude.
like I'm not sold on Dalton Schultz. If I can get better or cheaper and same production or as is kind of player at a cheaper value, then yeah, I would do that every day. So it is what it is, you know.
Man, I'm trying to find the tweet where it says who we can cut and how much money that it will save us. Can't find it right now, but it was like Jimmy Ward will save you, I believe, $3 to $4 million,
Yeah,
and
that was
and
the
then
tweet I was
some.
talking about. It was like a list of players, and Jimmy
Yeah,
Ward was on there. And I know Tegan Couturiano was on there. Myjai Sanders. There was a few other, you know, Texans that are
Robert
just that.
Woods was like you saved
Yeah,
5 mil cutting Robert Woods.
yeah. You know, so I if you got attached to Danny Amendola, I don't know what to tell you, bud.
I got
I
attached to Rex Burkhead. I'm playing. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
no,
I'm
don't you
kidding.
dare, don't you dare. You say that name, and he just pops up out of somewhere, man. He'll be a Texan out next year just because you mentioned it.
Dude, what's gonna be fun is like 15 years from now, we're gonna be on a podcast and we're gonna play the name random Houston Texans, and I can't wait till we go. Yeah, Danny Amendola. Oh wait,
Nate
Justin
Washington.
Reed was a
Nate
Houston
Washington.
Texan.
Keyshawn Martin.
Oh wow.
I could go for days. I mean, come on, more Norris. Oh my
What's what
goodness.
my boy from Michigan State, Max Bulla. It's number 53. Hey, and number 53 was cursed for a number of years. No matter who had it on, you were gonna be on IR.
Yeah, Zach Dowles was hurt for a while. I think he was 53. He might have been 54. Daryl
Alfred
is
Blue.
Alfred Blue, man. Oh, Alfred Blue, hey man. Alfred Blue had Bob just like this, man. I ain't getting cut. Him and Eddie Pleasant, man. They ain't getting cut, man.
Eddie Pleasant was good for a little bit.
Him and Blue stayed too long on this team. Like ridiculous. Ridiculous. We're off the rails.
Yeah, shout out to the former Houston Texans, man. We are here at this moment because of you, with the future as high as it can be. Jason Babin,
Man,
holy hell,
I I hate Jason Babbitt.
bro. He
I
goes to
hate
Philly and
Jason
gets
Babbitt.
what, 18 sacks?
Dude, I don't know if it was that many, but I mean, he went to Philly, went to Tennessee. He ended up having a career. And it's all because Dom Capers tried to fit a 3-4 outside pass rushing linebacker in a 4-3 scheme, and it didn't work out. And this guy was supposed to be the next big thing for the Houston Texans, and it did not work. Damn it, I hate Jason Babbitt.
Jalen Johnson says, "You guys saying Burkhead reminds me we need an elite running back." Now,
Mm,
there's two that we like. The first guy is Harley's guy, and that is Saquon Barkley, projected by PFF 2 years, $22 million, 15 guaranteed, $11 million a year. Saquon Barkley, his season stats 900 62 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, 280 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, and he did that in 14 games. Harley, are you bringing in Saquon Barkley?
Absolutely.
Mm,
Slam dunk. Give me a running back that has the level of transformation to an offense like Christian McCaffrey. That is what Saquon Barkley brings to the Houston Texans. He immediately elevates the offense from into maybe a top 10. Hell, you could even argue a top 5 offense. Saquon Barkley solves a lot of issues. It is an easy button for this offense that you do not have. CJ Stroud in the play action deep pass comes so easier now for the Texans. Saquon Barkley does so many things right. We've seen in this offensive system, we've seen what an elite running back can do with this offensive system. We could just go back a decade ago, and damn it, that feels so old. But a decade ago, we had this running back named Arian Foster. I
beautiful.
think some Texans fans have heard of him. He was pretty good from what I heard. And I don't know. He pretty much transformed an unknown running back who transformed this Texans offense into another stratosphere. Like we saw this offense be an average offense with Schaub and Andre Johnson. They were always 8-8, 9-7, and they rode the mediocre club for a while. Not that good, but not that bad. And once they found a running back in Arian Foster, who they thought would be Ben Tate, who got hurt his whole rookie year, Arian Foster said, "Don't worry, guys, I got it." And he was absolutely magnificent. And we can use that example all the way to last year's example of Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers. Saquon Barkley does exactly that, but here in H-Town. Sign me up. Give me the Conor McGregor man. Sign me up. Give
Mm.
him that check. I have no problem with it. Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him home to H-Town.
Scared money don't make money. And I know there is a concern about the injury history, but we're
Yes.
talking about one of the best running backs in the NFL if healthy. So obviously that contract is going to have some incentives as far as how much he plays as his tenure as a Houston Texan. But sign me up. And you are looking at an elite offense. You have the threat of CJ Stroud airing it out. And when you think you can lock that down, you have Saquon Barkley just busting your ass for 10 to 15 yards. Dude, that would be apt. Imagine, dude.
That's a pause, bro. That's a pause.
Okay, I apologize. That's on
That
me
was a busting your ass.
for 10 to
Imagine.
15 yards.
Mm, interesting.
One guy for me, running back Josh Jacobs, free
Yeah.
agent from the Raiders, about to be 26 years old, so there is some youth there. Finished the season on IR, unfortunately, had a quad injury, but Josh Jacobs is someone who relatively stays healthy. Was last year's NFL leading rusher, 2,000 all purpose yards, 1,600 on the ground, 400 through the air. And then we know what happened. This wasn't just a down year for Josh Jacobs. It was a down year for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Josh McDaniel situation was absolutely horrible. Antonio Pierce had to come in and save the team, save the culture, and he did that. So shout out to Antonio Pierce. Josh
Yep.
Jacobs, 805 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns, 296 receiving yards through the air. I think there's an untapped potential. Josh Jacobs has 2 seasons of back-to-back receptions of 50 yards in a season. I think you could definitely see something here with Josh Jacobs, and this is another superstar in the NFL. I could not go wrong with Josh Jacobs. I could not go wrong with Saquon Barkley. Would you have to spend a little bit more on Josh Jacobs because of the youth? I'm more than happy with doing that. This is a game-changing running back, and dude, it's gonna be filthy.
Yeah, I would absolutely. I'm all on board with Josh Jacobs as well. Give me one of those two running backs, and I'm chilling.
Mm.
I'm absolutely chilling. I need the Houston Texans to just stop messing around with the running back position. You have an opportunity to go spend some money and get a Saquon Barkley or a Josh Jacobs here in Houston. We heard D'Amico Ryans express the importance behind two positions specifically, and he described the defensive line
Mm,
and the running game. And whether or not that means offensive line or running back, it doesn't feel like it's offensive line. You've spent enough money on there. You've spent enough draft capital on there. You have the talent on the offensive line, and hell, it should be better next year on paper. So, what does that mean? I look and point direction straight to the running game because D'Amico did also mention how they struggled to run the football against the Baltimore Ravens.
mm.
Appreciate what you've done for me this year, Devin Singletary. You did a fantastic job filling in when really you weren't supposed to be the guy filling in. It was supposed to be Damian Pierce. And hey, shout out to the Houston Texans for, falling off balance, but getting back on, rebalancing themselves, and finding Devin Singletary like Nick Casario did this offseason for the cheap. You can bring him back. You don't have to. Up to you. You can do whatever you want with Singletary. But give me somebody like Barkley or Josh Jacobs, who Josh Jacobs, according to PFF, really good in a zone running scheme when he was used in zone running formations. And I think the Houston Texans run something similar to that. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I would absolutely love Josh Jacobs here as well. And that right there, that's it right there. That's the comment right there. Josh Jacobs, Tank, and Nico, the offense would be on fire. Give
Mm.
me all of that. Double dip maybe into the wide receiver market, get you two cheap options. There is many wide receivers that are better than Noah Brown, that are
Mhm.
better than John Mechie. And hey, double dip into that market. And even when you grab a Barkley or a Jacobs, it still shouldn't scare you away from drafting a running back. Doesn't have to
No.
be high. Doesn't have to be high. I wouldn't recommend a high pick unless someone just falls and that's super talented. But if there's a running back you like in, you know, after your fourth round pick and you see a running back you like and you want to trade up and get him, hey, by
Mhm.
all means, go for it. Why not?
This can happen sooner enough, bro. This cannot
True.
happen sooner enough. You talk about D'Amico Ryans not only bringing up the running back situation, but the D line. I think we could both agree that you got to go all in on someone like Justin Matabuke, defensive lineman from the Baltimore Ravens, 26 years of age, just turned 26. This is a guy that had a sack in 13 of the 17 games during the regular season. The Baltimore Ravens are going to try to do everything in their power to keep Justin Matabuke, and it might be tough to re-sign him if you're Houston.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a tough resign for the Baltimore Ravens. I
Hmm.
wonder what they're going to do. Who are they? Who are they looking to restructure? Who are they looking to bring back? Besides Matabuike, they also have Patrick Queen that they have to bring back. So if the Houston Texans have an opportunity to go get Matabuike, uh, I don't have no problem bringing in Justin Matabuike. I think somebody was asking Jonathan Grenard or Matabuike. Sorry, Grenard. I'd rather go with Matabuike.
Yep.
I just think the interior pass rush from him, caving in a quarterback with Will Anderson's improvement this offseason in pass rush moves spells disaster for opposing
Hmm.
quarterbacks. You can afford to bring in Matabuike. You have the money to do it. Go spend the goddamn money and go bring somebody in here to wreak havoc for D'Amico Ryans. How about that?
I mean, this is a guy that changes your defense. And high motor, played in Texas at A&M. I'm all in. And if you have to overpay for someone, then you overpay for someone like Justin Matabuke, a game changing and very young. He just turned 26. He's going to be 26 when the season starts. Harley, real quick before we end tonight's episode, because this was fantastic. I'm proud to be a Houston Texan, man. This offseason is definitely going to feel like 15 years long. What are your draft needs if you are Nick Casario?
I've pretty much said this. In terms of the draft, I would definitely look at cornerback. I would look at safety for sure, defensive line, running back, and wide receiver. Those are just your off-season needs, but in the draft, it doesn't change much. Really, though, like when you're drafting between needs versus best player available, you can get to a little bit of trouble when you do that.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, linebacker also has to be on that list. There's a lot you still have to add to this team, and for them to go 10-7 with the roster you had, it just feels crazy a little bit, because there's still so much improvement that this team needs. You still need a Mike linebacker. You still need a cornerback. You found out you need maybe two safeties now. You still need interior defensive line help, and this defense for what they did with the Miko Ryans was just anything shy of amazing. And then this offense, you need a running back. You found out you need a running back. That's upsetting, but it is what it is. You also know that you need more weapons for CJ Stroud, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's tight end. I have no problem with either one, but Texans got a lot of needs going into the draft that hopefully they solve with free agency. We all know
Mm.
free agency's first and then it's the draft. So hopefully they solve a bunch of those needs in free agency. That way the draft, you can focus on what you need to focus on, and hopefully if there's a best player available on the board, go ahead and get him. Who cares?
Mm.
As long as it's not like anything redundant, of course. Like you don't
Offensive
need a
lineman, baby.
quarterback. You don't need an offensive lineman. Like, you don't need that. Jordan Ortiz, buddy, you are cooking. Cam Kitchens from Miami, that dude is an absolute beast at safety. That is somebody that Texans fans better be paying attention to. Cam Kitchens, really solid safety for them. Uh, the Adrian Taylor, little name out of Texas Tech, used to play for UTSA. He's a single high free safety. I would definitely keep my eye on him as this Senior Bowl comes around. The Senior Bowl's here, man. So we're going
Mm.
to be getting to see a lot of draft prospects and see who's made of what. You're going to see these smaller school guys that are getting into it, and let's find a diamond in the rough. Why not?
Nick likes his SEC guys, man. If they ain't from
He
Alabama,
likes his
he ain't.
Power Five. He likes
He
his
ain't.
Power Five schools.
You know.
Would
But
this be the first year that he finally drafts someone out of the Power Five?
I don't know. I
I don't
don't
know
know.
either, but
That's
it's
why. That's why when I was doing a mock draft and I was looking at the people who fell available to us. One of them was Chris Baswell, the edge rusher from
mm,
Alabama, the Will Anderson Jr. replacement, and had almost 16 sacks this year. So, I'm like, Nick Casario likes his Bama boys. Who knows
he does
what he's going to want to do. As you know, my favorite. Well, I agree with you as far as everything in the draft, cornerback, wide receiver, and there's a lot of
a
talent at the
lot.
wide receiver position. Linebacker will be huge. My main one in interior of the defensive line, Marlon Humphrey, Texans could sign would be a great. Ruben, what do you think if the money is right? Harley, what would you give Marlon Humphrey?
I didn't know Marlon Humphrey was a free
Yeah, I didn't
agent.
know that either.
I I don't think he was. I think
I
you
don't think
probably
he
have to.
is.
Yeah, I thought because I'm pretty sure he's still under contract. Um, I don't see a scenario where the Ravens trade Marlon Humphrey. That just doesn't happen. The only one that I see that is available maybe for trade is Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. Just because there's some what looks to
That's a
be
star.
some. Yeah, he's an absolute star. It looks to be some sort of miscommunication, excuse me, between him and the Packers and the coaching staff. That's what
Mm.
it looks like. We don't know exactly what's going on there. Maybe, some Green Bay local media probably does, but from what we're seeing outside looking in, it doesn't seem good. And, people reading into the tea leaves. he commented on Derek Stingley's post on Instagram. And then Derek Stingley commented on his post on Instagram. Whoa, alrighty, here we go. And to answer Johnny Lambert's question, no offense to Toto, he's just a depth piece for me.
Yeah.
Unless he just really improves with D'Amico, which could happen. This can happen. He could improve with D'Amico Ryans in the offseason. That's a big if, though. And I appreciate Toa more as a depth piece. He's like, and this is going to sound disrespectful, but he's a little upgraded version of Garrett Wallow.
He's a nice special teams guy.
I don't know if that's disrespectful or not, but I like Tua. I do. I talked to him in training camp real quick when he was signing some autographs for people. Cool dude, real cool dude. Chopped it up a little bit. But it is what it is.
It's gonna be our Brian Bremen watch.
Brian
And there's nothing
Bremen.
wrong with that, bro.
I have no problem with Brian Bremen. They can bring back Brian Bremen. I have no problem with that guy. That's Neville Hewitt right now, so let's be real.
When he hit that Tennessee tight end without his helmet, bro, that was rough.
That guy is crazy. If there was anybody more crazy than Brian Cushing, it was Brian Bremen.
Someone brings up Patrick Queen. I don't think the Houston Texans go after Patrick Queen. He's gonna demand a lot of money, and he absolutely deserves it. Being a All-Pro linebacker. Shout out to Odie in the background.
Shout out to the show. I think Texans fans need to realize that Patrick Queen plays the same position as Blake Cashman. And a lot of Texans fans, including myself, like what Blake Cashman did this last year. But I just don't see them getting rid of Blake Cashman, someone that could be really cheap for you this year, and you can sign him to maybe a 2-year, 3-year deal on the cheap side compared to Patrick Queen, who's going to command, $15 million a year.
Just imagine how crazy that would be. Patrick Quinn on a D'Amico Ryan's defense. But, I mean, Blake Cashman, you could argue, had a very good season. And if this was a bigger name, we might be talking about a Pro Bowl linebacker here with Blake Cashman. Led the Houston Texans in tackles, had interceptions. And we saw Blake Cashman balling out in training camp. And we said it's not a matter of talent with this guy. It's just, can he stay on the field? And did that for a good majority of this season. So shout out to Blake Cashman for having a somewhat healthy year for the Houston Texans and balling out. Harley, as we come to an end, any final words for the fans, guys? If you haven't, make sure you have liked today's live stream. We are brought to you by Bet Online. That is how you guys help us the absolute most.
The NFC Championship and AFC Championship game, man.
Letdowns.
The Ravens, they are who we thought they were.
Where was this?
This is the Ravens team that I thought the Houston Texans would get.
We did get it, bro. Like you got it from the offense. You got it from the offense. They were real shit.
Their defense is strong.
And
I mean, I tell you 3 weeks, or I'll tell you 4 days before the AFC Championship game, hey, the Ravens are going to hold the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes 17 points. You're going to be like, yeah, the Ravens probably whooped their ass. And just wasn't the case. On the other side, come on, man. 24/7.
Come on, Campbell.
Did we pass on the trophy? Did we pass on our crown to the Detroit Lions as the next playoff chokers? We were 24-0 against the Chiefs, 24-7 against the Niners. Did we pass it on to them? Absolutely, just a train wreck of Dan Campbell and the Lions, man. What were your thoughts on that?
It was very disappointing, and I mean, you had it. Halftime, I'm thinking, bro, I mean, yeah, we were, dude. We were so hyped seeing Eminem at the suite, flipping off the 49ers fans. And, the 49ers and the Chiefs have both been the powerhouses of their respective divisions for the past what
Yeah.
6 7 years. So I definitely wanted to see new blood in the Super Bowl. That's why we were excited for potentially Baltimore Ravens and Detroit Lions. Fortunately, it is a rematch of the 2020, but with Dan Campbell, dude, this is on you. I mean, you have to feel like an idiot, and being aggressive is great. Don't get me wrong. But when you have an opportunity to tie it against the team that has the most experience in the recent decade about getting to the Super Bowl and playing in the big game, and you absolutely laid an egg. And with a team like the Detroit Lions, once their head coach was failing, I mean, it was just a slippery slope from there. And I don't think the Detroit Lions get back to the Super Bowl, man. I saw a tweet from a Falcons fan, and he says the Detroit Lions remind me so much of the Atlanta Falcons when they went and blew it to the uh, New England Patriots. And he said, I
Yeah,
understand how you
similar.
feel, but I don't feel like y'all will ever be back. And they're not even at
That
the Super Bowl, they're a game away.
yeah, I mean, that was a tough game, man, and people, I we fell in love with the Detroit Lions. I fell in love with them. I was definitely rooting for them. I liked the hyper ever coach and Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions team, and shout out to the Believing Lions, former Texan Glover Quins over there. So I was rooting for them. We got our buddy Cody, his cousins on the team. So obviously there's some more rooting interest there. At the end of the day, man, it's not only the execution, like you're running the ball on third down, like that didn't make any sense for me. Not going for it for the field goal like twice is ridiculous. Like, what the hell was Dan Campbell thinking? Like, he showcased why he was never a head coach to begin with, and the only team that hired him was the Detroit Lions. And it's laughable that the Detroit Lions did hire Dan Campbell now. It's really bad now because I'm telling you right now, Dan Campbell is in nothing more than a super hyped up Hulk version of David Coley. That's what Dan Campbell is. He's just a
Hot
super hyped up
take.
Hulk version of David Coley. Like, what is the difference? They both have ridiculous sound bites. This guy thinks this is Madden and he can go for it on fourth down whenever the hell he feels like it. It's absolutely ridiculous. He should have kicked the damn field goal. You could have been up at least try to extend this game. This game is slipping away from you. Kick the goddamn field goal, Dan Campbell. If my dumb looking ass on YouTube with 5,000 subscribers knows I can kick a field goal, if there's a guy on YouTube with 12 subscribers that knows to kick a damn field goal, then what is the difference for Dan Campbell, who's getting paid millions and millions of dollars, to go out there and say, you know what? I like my Madden and genuine mindset right now. Let me just go for it on fourth down whenever the hell I feel like it. You know why? Because I have the balls to do it. And I have that gut feeling. Man, how that gut feeling feel like yesterday?
This is where analytics plays a part in the game as well, man. It's tough for Detroit,
Ridiculous,
dude.
man.
And as someone mentioned earlier, Ben Johnson is gone. He is going to be a head coach, and what a potential head coach he might be. He was someone that I really loved all the way back with the Carolina Panthers, man. A bright, young mind. What's up?
They should fire Dan Campbell and hire Ben Johnson as head coach. I'm at that point. Dan Campbell lost every. Like, I love Dan Campbell. I was super into this dude. Like, yeah,
Dude,
this
he's
is
gonna
this
come
guy.
up and bite a knee, dude.
What the hell does that do? What does that even mean? Like, we just brushed that over now because the Lions started winning. Like, that crap never made any damn sense. You'll push me down. I'm gonna bite a kneecap off. Come on, man. Bill O'Brien's better than Dan Campbell. The only reason Dan Campbell is having success is because go credit that GM for drafting the right players. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing, man. Come on. All this dude is a super hyped up pep rally version of David Coley. That's all he is.
Someone said it's the same thing with Sirianni and Steichen with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eh, that's tough because they actually went to a Super Bowl. Sirianni, Sirianni could be he's a questionable character in terms of how he coaches. But Shane Steichen he's gonna do a number on them Colts.
What AR-15, man.
Yeah, they're the only team in the division that actually scares me.
Taylor Swift. We get to see her once again. And Harley, I have a prediction.
Oh boy, here we go.
This will be the most watched Super Bowl
Yes.
ever
Yep.
because of Taylor Swift. And what's going to be crazy is, and it's sad that I know this, but she has a show in Tokyo literally the day before. So she's going to have to
Oh,
travel halfway across the world to go to the Super Bowl and support Travis Kelsey. I'm not one of the ones who hates it and is sick of it. It's just crazy, man. I'm more mad that Jackson and Brittany Mahomes are gonna be there once again. And it's like everyone in America should be rooting for the 49ers. Brock Purdy, Shanahan, go get it done. Save America from this dynasty that is right now taking over the NFL. And if they win this game, there is no sign of someone who could stomp them unless CJ Shy wants to do it in year two. But what Pat Mahomes has shown you, no matter who his wide receiver is, he is just going to be great. And no one thought they were going to do damage this postseason. And now
yep.
he's back in the Super Bowl.
They are I hate to say it.
They're the Patriots,
The
bro.
they're the NFL version of the Houston Astros. And the Houston Astros is a hated team. Everyone hates the Houston Astros. Obviously, I don't because I love my Houston Astros. You can kiss our rings. How about that? But that's what they are. Both teams are successful. The Houston Astros continue to find ways to get into the ALCS and find ways to get into the World Series some way, somehow. And the Kansas City Chiefs, again, man, he has I believe, similar numbers to Tom Brady's first 6 years in the NFL. You know what? And as crazy as it sounds, just for my narrative purposes, I have no problem with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
I
And
don't either,
why
man.
why I say that? Build them up. Build that damn team up. Because damn it, I am confident in CJ Stroud and company to tear that damn. I was gonna say something. To tear them down. How about that? I was gonna say something stupid there, but I am super confident in CJ Stroud and this Texans team, and I just want to see it. I want to see it. What really upsets me with this Chiefs team is this is gonna strike a nerve. It felt like we were there. We beat them in the regular season. We had them on the ropes, it felt like. And everything slipped away so fast. And it just feels like I want that again. Like I want to face them again. I can't wait till we do in the regular season. But at the end of the day, regular season, schmegler season
It's gonna
don't
be week
matter.
one, bro.
It don't. No, they like having a playoff rematch or something. So expect Chiefs and Ravens week one, or however they want to do that. But I am rooting for Kyle Shanahan, though. I love Kyle Shanahan. I wanted the Houston Texans to get him when he was at Atlanta. I was on board of firing Bill O'Brien after that debacle of a game against the Indianapolis Colts where he dropped a goose egg against them. I wanted him fired, and I wanted Kyle Shanahan here because I already knew that Kyle Shanahan is was going to be a good head coach. I'm rooting for the Niners, but for narrative purposes, build up the Chiefs so I can see CJ Stroud knock them down. How about that?
You're seeing the empire, man. That's why I compared him to the Patriots. And dude, if they have 3 Super Bowl rings, man, this is the next New England Patriots, man. What they are doing as a football team, man. There's no signs of stopping. As long as you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, you are going to win football games. And I can't wait to when CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans
Mm.
are in that same type of conversation. Hell, they were almost there in week 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we just wanted to say thank you for being a part of an episode on a Monday night. It is Monday. Wrestling just started. Royal Rumble. Good show. Ending. Let down. Harley, quick thoughts?
Women's Royal Rumble stole the show. The women stole the show. The surprise appearances: Naomi, fantastic. Jade Cargill, fantastic. Seeing Liv Morgan, fantastic. Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez. We got to see a glimpse of the future. Jordan Grace from TNA
That was
put on
crazy.
put on a show in the Royal Rumble, impressed a lot of fans. Women's Royal Rumble stole the show. Uh,
Fantastic.
the next bout with Roman Reigns and the title on the line,
We knew
everybody
it.
felt we already knew Roman Reigns was going to win, but regardless, the match just didn't get me going.
Mm.
It was okay. It had a moment here and there, but that was about it. And the Solo Sokoa thing just drained that whole match. It just drained it. It was ridiculous. I've seen that too many times. U.S. title match was a snooze fest until the very end with the brass knuckles.
Great
I was like,
ending.
yeah, I like the ending. It sold me, and it makes me argue that maybe that match was a lot better than the WWE title match. And then the men's Royal Rumble, they hyped it up so much on Twitter. They were saying that the ending was going to hit like crack, and that just didn't happen.
Mm.
And no offense to it, I like that Cody Rhodes won.
Caught it.
I'm happy that he won because, damn it, I do not. I'm sorry. I do not want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns because what does that do to Cody's character? He's at a flat line right now. You can't move him up. You can't move him down. You can't make him face. You can't make him heel, even though he's a face right now. But it's just get him the title, let him finish the story, and let's see him progress that character. And let's light it all on fire, man. Let's get it on. CM Punk's going to be injured for the foreseeable future. He's going to be sidelined. So that story between him and Seth Rollins is now onto the bookshelf.
LA Knight, baby. World champ.
Yeah, we need one of those guys from SmackDown, a Randy Orton, an AJ Styles, or an LA Knight. I would love any one of the three. Obviously, LA Knight makes the most sense. I would love any one of the three. A Randy Orton Seth Rollins match would be fire. AJ Styles Seth Rollins match would be fire. But we all know, give the people what they want. They want LA Knight to win that goddamn title. It doesn't have to be against Roman Reigns.
Mm.
Why not do it against the Seth Rollins? LA Knight can play just like Seth Rollins. They can both play both heel and face,
Mm-hmm.
and they do it very well. They can trash talk with the best of the people, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
I'm excited too, guys. Once again, thank you for being a part of this show on a Monday night. Brought to you by Bet Online. For more Houston Texans content, y'all follow both of us. Have a real blessed rest of your night. And the uniform, real quick, we don't know. We don't know, but we will find out together.
It will happen around draft week. That is
Ooh.
when they're revealing. It's draft week. You know why?